I went and looked at the MRI scan. The what the scan is showing, you know, the surgery you had back in 2001, we still see, you know, where they did the repair. But over time, sometimes what happens with the rotator cuff, people will re-tear, and the tendons are like rubber bands. So once you pull on the rubber band, you develop that tension. If you cut it, it's gonna spring back or retract. So from looking at the MRI scan, where the rotator cuff goes onto the top of the arm bone, you know, it causes it to move and turn. You know, the tendon it retore, and over time the tendons kind of like disappear. So that's what happens when it tears and it retracts. If there's no
blood flow through it,
or nothing, you know, pulling it, right? That
tension.
Yeah, that tension keeps the tendon intact, you know, healthy. Once that's gone, the tendons they shrivel up like somebody lose their blood supply.
Shrivel up, turns into nothing.
It turns into nothing, right? So when looking at the scan, the rotator cuff tendons are maybe 80% less than what they were before. You know what I mean? Less. So it's significant in that the rotator cuff tendon is no longer there, basically. So sometimes when people have the rotator cuff tendon, and on top of that, you got a lot of arthritis between the socket and the ball.
Okay. Oh, that causes a lot of friction.
Because that causes stiffness. Sometimes when you kind of move it, first time like, oh.
Yes.
So, but when people move it, it gets better over time until they stop, and then they start all over again. So when we're talking about doing surgeries for people, first thing I say, okay, what we're trying to try to treat. Now, if somebody's got rotator cuff tendonitis or tear, and if the tear is of a certain size, we know we can go in and we can fix that. That's the easy part. Now, sometimes when the rotator cuff, when the tear is so large that, no matter what you do, and people try, I mean, they've been, this stuff has been bothering folks for probably the last 50, 60 years, surgery-wise. So there's enough surgical evidence in the literature to show people have what we call massive tears, when there's hardly any rotator cuff tendon left. Those people, if they just had like traditional shoulder replacement, those people don't do as well, because the rotator cuff, you need the rotator cuff to open your arm up so that you can wash underneath and reach and get something out of the cabinet. So those people, they don't fare well when they just do a traditional shoulder replacement. So now one of the things that they have for people is, we call it reverse. So you take the ball part of the shoulder and make it a socket. And you take the socket part and make it the ball. So what that does, it changes the dynamics. So a person can they can get their arm up to this level here, easy. Because, you just switch things around. And so the other thing is too, they have greater, range of motion, less pain. And I guess the other thing is too, is less pain because.
What about curling a weight?
Well, that shouldn't be,
Because right now it's not a problem.
No.
Going up, just doing that motion.
Every time.
Oh yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah, and like I said, the other thing is too, if somebody say, you know what, man, I'm too young to have that, and so.
What about being too old to have that? I'm not going to heal like
you never really, I mean, they're doing these reverse shoulders on people 70, 80 years old. But most of them don't have any rotator cuff. By the time they come, they have a shoulder pain, right?
Mhm.
There's one other thing besides jumping to, shoulder reconstruction surgery. There's a thing called radio frequency. So sometimes, depending on where the pain is, we know which nerves control the pain. So sometimes you can actually go isolate those nerves, put some medicines there.
Deactivate them. Kind of like deactivate them.
Yeah. The first thing you do is you try to figure out if those nerves have something to do with the pain.
Right.
So we do like a test run. We check and see if we can block those nerves for about a day, right? Patients know, they can feel if there's any kind of difference between.
Sure.
So if they get some relief from just blocking the nerve, then the next thing would be to burn the nerve. So the nerves that we burn are only the nerves that control pain,
I guess.
not the one that helps you move your arm.
Kind of like a acupuncture needle touching the nerve, energizing it and burning that nerve through touching of the needle. Is that what we're talking about?
Similar but different. It's different. Acupuncture, they just have the needles.
I'm talking a needle that's controlled, a needle that's hooked up to some type of electrode.
Right.
And that needle gets some electricity flowing through it that touches that nerve, that fries that nerve.
Yes, it turns the temperature up.
Is that what we're talking? Okay.
Right. So it's called radio frequency.
Okay.
You just turn the volume up.
Yes.
And the tip of it heats up to a certain diameter.
Okay.
Just small, just large enough to get that nerve, but not large enough to
damage.
damage the soft tissues around it. So you kind of, like I said, you kind of isolate that nerve to see if that nerve is the one causing your pain. If it is, you'll notice in the first day or the day or so afterwards, oh man, I'm not feeling that pain. That's a good sign. That means that the radio frequency we put right next to the nerve that we block the nerves from. The first part, we just put some numbing medicine. Like if you go to the dentist, you have to,
Yes.
Right. So they use a short-acting anesthetic, 3 or 4 hours. We use something that lasts 12 to 18.
Okay.
So if you feel the effects, you'll notice it. It won't be like, oh, okay, just 5 minutes. You know what I mean? It should be like several hours.
Right.
But the pain will come back because it's just that's the way it is.
Right.
But that's one of the things people can try.
Is the pain protecting me from doing more damage? Like, should I receive this pain? Is this a good type of pain that gives me a warning? So if I should deactivate it, will I be causing damage to what it's trying to protect?
You know what? The studies, like I said, they've got this looks like a brochure.
Okay.
It talks about the hip,
Okay.
but they have one for the shoulder
Like
too.
it happens?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so they kind of mention that about once the pain is gone, will any damage be done to the joint? And the answer is no.
Okay.
They've done studies to show before and after, like say 2 years, 4 years, if there any difference between those people and the people that continue to have pain.
Now, if I reverse, trying to think, what will that look like?
What's that?
Looking at it, the reverse shoulder.
The reverse shoulder.
If I was looking at you and you have the reverse shoulder.
They would your shoulder will look the same. You just have a scar, but the shoulder, looking at it from the outside, you can't tell.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are we trying to detach and then reattach to this component that's going in? And how long will it take for the healing to take place, the process?
Usually with the, we call it the bone, because nowadays, most people, when they do their shoulder replacement, we rely on the patient's bone to grow into the implant.
Oh wow, it's that big.
So they have little holes, they have little pores inside the implant.
Okay. Yeah, I understand. It's a porous, and the bone continues to grow and grows as a unit.
It goes inside, and it actually
Like
holds
a tooth goes into the jawbone.
Right. So it actually holds it better than put glue in it.
Yes.
So glue will break down over 10, 15 years. But the bone on bone, we think it'll last forever. So that's what we usually use. We use we call it non-cemented. So it takes about since the arm is not really a weight bearing bone, it's not really that important. Like say the hip or the knee, where you got to put weight on it. So most people, once they get over the soreness from the surgery, they can start putting as much pressure on that shoulder as they want.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just have to make sure that when I take this, how long is the surgery? How long is the procedure?
The reverse shoulder, or
yeah, to do the reverse shoulder.
the procedure takes about probably 2-3 hours.
2 to 3 hours.
Yep.
Is there any way that I can, I guess, go on YouTube and take a look at this?
On the reverse shoulders?
Yeah, what does that look? Because I got to visualize, reverse my shoulders, and where do you have to disconnect and reattach? How's that going to affect my physical agility and being able to maintain my?
Like I said, the other thing is too, a lot of folks, like burning the nerve and there's some other things folks are doing too. I'm not sure the VA, covering it, but sometimes you can take like some, you take the person's fat, right, and process it, and then inject it back into the joint. It's called stem cell treatment. So sometimes if somebody got severe arthritis and all this kind of stuff, you can put it in there, it may help.
Well, that's a temporary fix, right? That's something that'll wear away after a while.
Well, again, it's one of these new things. And some folks are starting to repeat it. You know what I mean? Where if the person's symptoms reappear, say 3 or 4 years later, just repeat it.
Okay.
Yeah, and it avoids big time surgery.
And what are we here for this morning? So now I know that my tendons are pretty much, they're gone.
Yeah.
Okay. So to reattach that is impossible. I was informed, and you just told me some information on the reverse. What are we doing this morning? What is it that we're discussing?
Well, we're just talking about, like I said, I looked at your scan, saw what it is, and so the options are either, you could try the nerve block, see if that helps. If you're not really mentally ready for, to have the reverse shoulder.
Yeah.
Sometimes people try that because it might give you 2 or 3 years, maybe more, worth of relief.
What, the reverse shoulder? 2 or 3 years?
No. This thing.
Oh, the fat.
Block of the nerves.
Block of the nerve.
Yeah. It can give people like months and years worth of relief.
Okay.
Without having to cut it.
Oh.
Just use needles, burn them,
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one option, and the other thing is the reverse shoulder. So
I think I would like to do this option first, just a simple pain.
Yeah. I would tell you, that's what.
Yeah, and if that doesn't work, then I can.
Yeah, you always got that to fall back on.
Okay.
So.
All right, that cut that short, real simple, real fast, real easy.
Like I said, we could try to read that. Then like I said, I'll have my office get back with you, and let us know.
I can already make. You drop something back there. I can already give you my decision right now.
Try this, huh?
Yeah, I'm much rather try this non-invasive thing.
Yeah.
If it works, I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
And then I can come back and
No.
see.
Which side? You have more pain here, or here?
It have on a regular,
Uh-huh.
it's here.
Right there, huh?
And then there are times when I know what you're talking about, that they turned into nothing because I can kind of sometimes get a slight relief trying to move it, using my mind, trying to figure out where it is, and getting something to move, and something does slightly move. It gives it some type of difference of feeling,
Because there's 3 nerves, huh?
Okay.
There's one that's, sometimes people have more pain posterior.
Yeah.
A lot of folks have it right in here.
Oh, yeah.
And then some folks have the more pain in this area right here. So
Okay.
it seems like yours is more
Yes, right.
in this area. Okay. It's cool. I can handle that.
All right, doctor. If you can have somebody call me at your
Yeah, I'll let the ladies up front know.
Thank you.
All right?
Good talking to you.
You too, man.
I appreciate it. What do I do from here now?
Follow me.
All right, Roger.
We're going to Tennessee. From Germany, huh?
Yes, Berlin.
Oh, I've been to Berlin, man. I love Berlin.
All right.
You been there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we took a boat ride, man, on the river.
What's the river out there? The Rhine or something?
Yeah, and walked by the Brandenburg Gate.
Oh, nice.
All that. I was there in
Who'd you go there with?
May. It was like May 2014. Yeah.
Who do you go with?
My wife.
And
Yeah,
later
yeah.
you get to be the
Well, I was working in Saudi Arabia, and one of the companies took me to Berlin. Well, they took me to Leipzig, which is in former East Germany. So we took the one of the speed train from Leipzig to Berlin. It took us like maybe 2 hours.
You like me in adventure.
Yeah. Oh, I love Berlin, man. Berlin.
Traveling period. Get nothing.
Those guys were, they had the street where the guys were pumping, drinking beer, singing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Completely different atmosphere.
Yeah.
Both of you together.
We enjoyed it. We lived just for a weekend, but I go, oh my goodness. Must have been from Michigan. Yeah, I go there and watch people. We're gonna set him up for nerve.